Heyo, welcome back to the Undrafted and Unqualified Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Anthony here again with Vinny. We're back in year two, just recycling what we've got. So we got another fun one today. Start bench cut. I think this is going to be a staple we're going to do every year. We're going to do the start bench cut. We're going to talk about each position there, some kind of close ADPs that we think are good conversations, and then we'll talk about some guys kind of doing an ADP check. Where are they standing right now? What do we think about that? So those will be some fun conversations today. We're back in our kind of respective areas. Like I'm back home now that school's over. So you'll
Mhm.
see a lot of Zoom meetings for the time being. And the occasional time, hopefully you'll see us meet up and we'll get some in-person Zooms. But expect that very minimal, very
Yeah,
minimally.
maybe
But
around draft time, we'll do like an in-person draft if we can coordinate
yeah.
that. But
That'd be
uh,
sweet. Yeah, maybe we can draft our league together.
yeah,
We could
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
that. That'd be cool. We do live time. Maybe we could like live stream it or
Ooh,
something. We'll
ooh.
see. That could be a lot of
All
fun.
right, now we're talking. Now we're
Yeah.
talking.
But yeah, we'll definitely have those minimal situations. But yeah, we got some news to talk about, and we want to keep this one quick if we can. We say that every time, and then it never is.
When you're
But
talking ball
yeah.
stuff, this times moves, you know?
Yeah, we'll hop into this here. So the first piece of news is that Devon Achane got extended 4 years, 64 million. That's 16 a year. That's the third biggest running back contract in the league. So that's a big time deal. Vinny, you said you have him in Dynasty. So
Sorry,
how do
trying
you
to figure
feel,
this.
how do you feel about that extension?
I love it. I mean, I was worried about his situation a little bit going into this season just because of kind of them blowing it up, moving on from Tua, Tyreek leaving, a lot of moving pieces, McDaniel getting fired, new coach, new GM, so just whole new house. And for them to kind of put their stamp on Achan and say this is our guy, this is our running back going forward, making him the highest paid running back in the league, it says a lot. So it lessens a lot of that worry for me. And especially in Dynasty, if you could get a guy locked up for 4 years, it feels really good. So, still have my questions about him as like a player this upcoming year, but love the extension for him.
Yeah, I think it's big. I just hope the Dolphins don't go into complete poverty because then
Yeah,
he's just gonna waste away. Like he'll be a PPR
exactly.
guy, but other than that, the touchdowns won't come by as well. But yeah,
Exactly.
I'm in the same boat as you with that. Great to get the extension. It's well deserved. He's a stud.
Yep.
The other piece of news, Aaron Rodgers coming back. He signed with the Steelers. So we kind of figured this, but now it's official. He's the guy. He is the Steelers quarterback this upcoming season. And he also just announced a couple hours ago today that this is his last. So he said he's coming back one more and then this is it. So this is one final ride. I kind of hate it. Like, I kind of wish the Steelers were just ready to move forward out of mediocrity and go, we're gonna rebuild. Here, Drew Aller, here, take your shot, But they didn't want to do that. So I don't like it for Metcalf. I don't like it for Pittman. I think it's fine for the running backs because Kenny Gainwell got so many dump offs last year. So Jalen Warren could be pretty good, maybe even Rico Dowdle. But
Mhm.
yeah, overall. It kind of
Yeah.
sucks, honestly.
It just feels like, one final hurrah for all parties involved. They bring in McCarthy, and right when they did that, you could kind of, you know, write it in that Rodgers was coming back because I don't think they would have done that unless it was to get Rodgers back, which I don't really know, like you were saying, why they want him back. But I do think it is sort of an upgrade for Pittman and Metcalf based on who else could have been there if it was Will Howard or Drew Aller. Not like a massive upgrade because of what we saw them do last year, but out of that QB room, if someone had to be throwing those guys the ball, I would choose Rodgers. So, yeah, and of course, Rodgers is a kind of guy that needs to make like a retirement tour, announce it before, make it a whole big deal. So, nothing surprising from him, but yeah, it doesn't move me in fantasy at all for any parties involved.
Yeah, honestly, I think it might be worse. Now that Pittman's there, I feel like there's more like targets to spread around, and then Rodgers is just checking it down too much. So like, I think
Yeah.
it's not great for the receivers. And then we also
Yeah.
know what Rodgers is at this point. Like
Hmm.
he's not good. He's not at all. And then you also got to consider the fact that Aller, like Will Howard, could they be good? Like we just don't know. And chances are probably lower than we'd hope for, but if they ended up being really good, that'd be awesome for fantasy. We're just not going to see it for at least another year. So it kind
Yeah.
of sucks for fantasy all around, but hey, we'll be cheering on the the farewell tour, but thank God this is it.
Yeah, I wonder if teams are going to be giving him gifts and stuff. I really hope not. I mean, he did
Yeah.
have an amazing career, but he's just left such a sour taste in my mouth with
Yeah.
how he's everything. So,
I completely agree. But all right, let's get into this here. So we'll do start bench cut. Um, and then we'll talk about one player at each position afterwards and what we think of that. So kind of just one guy individually where it's like, whoa, that might be a little weird or something like that. So we'll do an ADP check on that. But for this start bench cut for the QB position, and this is all based on ADP currently. So I went on Fantasy Pros literally just today just to update it. And this is all accurate as of today. So the quarterback 8, Dak Prescott, the quarterback 9, Justin Herbert, and the quarterback 10, Trevor Lawrence. I thought this was a good three to use because they feel pretty similar in terms
yep.
of fantasy. It's like I wouldn't hate if you took either one ahead. So I don't know. You need a minute? I definitely need a minute myself to think about it. But if you're good, go
I think
ahead.
I'm good, but just I was thinking the same exact thing. Like these three, I don't think you could really go wrong with. I kind of am a fan of all of them, but I do have my order. I'm gonna go start Herbert. I think it's just I've always been a Herbert guy, so this one's not super hard for me. But just with Mike McDaniel being the OC there, I'm really excited to see how they use all those weapons. So he's going to be the start for me. The bench is going to be it's going to be Trevor Lawrence for me. I think it was very good to see him take a huge step forward with Liam Cohen. He used his rushing ability a little bit too. Um, and Jacoby Myers really turned to his target, but that was Trevor Lawrence's year with no BTJ. So I'm really excited to see not no BTJ, but they didn't use him like he wasn't producing at all. And then I'm going to cut Dak. Like you said, tough group kind of has the odd man out for me, but I don't think I can intertwine any of these guys really, but that's going to be the order for me.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a good call. It feels weird because I'm gonna sit Dak too.
Hmm.
And it feels weird because I was such a Dak guy last year. He was a my guy for me. He's a great player. He works well in the Cowboys offense. And
Hmm.
I like the player. I think just out of this group, he is my sit. I think if it comes to, I'll say Trevor Lawrence is actually going to be my start. So, although I have Lawrence there, I'd probably go, like, if it comes to a draft, I'd probably feel more comfortable taking Dak or Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. But
Yeah.
like you said, with Liam Cohen, the rushing ability is there. He really took the next step. So I like Trevor Lawrence this year, I think. I think Liam Cohen really unlocked something in him. And we saw something great from Baker when Liam Cohen was there too. So I,
Hmm.
I really I attribute a lot of success to Liam Cohen here, and I like the situation. So I think Trevor Lawrence is the start, the rushing upside. He has the most out of these three. Herbert's going to be my sit because, we're still yet to see such a great year from him. It's like he's such a good quarterback. We know this, and he can do it. But every year it feels like he fades out at some point, and he's getting only 10 to 12 fantasy points a game. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for Mike McDaniel. I'm with you on that. I think he can unlock Herbert, but I'd rather go with the guy we just saw do it last year. And the weapons are great. He's got the rushing upside more than Herbert. And then Dak is he's a pocket guy. And I think he could also be great again. He's also got to break the every other year curse where
Yep.
he's really good one year, bad the next. And usually it's bad because he's injured. So that's what it is. It's more like it's not that he's bad. It's just he gets injured and finishes outside. I think he's like top 8 every fully healthy year of his career. So it's like that's a
Yep.
hard one to say sit. But I think out of this group, you're just shooting more upside in what we're talking about. So
I mean, also just in terms of what we talk about a lot of good offenses, I feel like the best offenses in this are the Cowboys and the Chargers, but we both like Lawrence a little bit more because of that rushing upside, which you don't really see from the other two. So I think that plays a role too.
I think all three of these offenses are elite, so
The,
you
the,
really
the Jaguars you can't
can't
sleep
go
on,
wrong.
but
Yeah.
when you lose your RB1, we kind of want to see who replaces ETN there. But yeah, definitely not a bad offense by any means.
Yeah, I think this also just goes into the fact too, just a quick mention here. In terms of drafts this year, it feels really deep at quarterback this year. We've talked about it before, but the number 10 guy feels like he has a lot of upside right now. So it's like you can really wait on quarterback, I think, and you could feel good. These are good offenses at the 8, 9, 10, good quarterbacks. Like it feels good this year. So that's just something to consider when you're drafting.
Yep.
For the ADP check, just a guy we want to talk about here at the quarterback position. This is an interesting one. Drake May sitting at quarterback 7 as of today. That's I mean, we just saw a QB2 finish. I've seen like rankings. ECR is like number 2 overall, right behind Josh Allen, and that's felt a little rich for me as a Patriots fan. I can't lie. I know AJ Brown's going to be coming there. He's got very much rushing upside, but it just feels a little high. I know the schedule was a breeze last year. He just elite defenses in the playoffs. He just wasn't getting it done. But 7 feels a little low. I think when we look at, I'll pull up the ADP here too. Um, we look at some of the names right in front of him. Caleb Williams a spot higher. Like
Oh,
personally, I'm taking Drake May. Jalen
yeah.
Hurts 2 spots higher. I'm probably taking Drake May. Daniels, Burrow, Lamar, and Josh Allen. You could convince me to take any of those. So Drake May at 5, that could be fine. But 7 feels really low. I will say Hurts, Caleb Williams, and Drake May are back to back to back 69, 70, and 71 in terms of their actual picks. But I think I'd take Drake May over those other two. There's just too many question marks for me with the Jalen Hurts offense, with a new offensive coordinator. And then Caleb Williams, I think he's just never been that accurate yet. And could he turn up even another level? Absolutely. Just definitely some question marks there too, where I think I'd probably prefer my hometown guy in Drake May.
Yeah, no, I don't even really think there's much bias there. I do agree with you. Like it feels sort of like every year we have guys who have big years. Just what comes to mind last year is Terry McLaurin. The year before had a massive year, but
Yep.
then people kind of baked in a regression into his ADP. They were all like, people are smart enough to be like, oh, but sometimes you get killed by that. Then like the guy, he has another big year and people get him out of value again. So you kind of have to pick and choose your sides. With this one, it doesn't really make a lot of sense because for Terry McLaurin, that I mean, I'm not going to continue with Terry McLaurin comparison because it's a totally different position. But
Yeah.
just in general, Drake May showed the rushing ability, showed the throwing ability at not a big scale either. He didn't really throw for a lot of yards, so I feel like there's more in the tank there if you when you get a guy like AJ Brown. But maybe all it takes is that AJ Brown trade to actually happen for that ADP to kind of kick in. That's what I'm kind of thinking is that right now people just don't know definite that that's Drake May is going to have a guy like that. But I feel like once he gets a guy like that, it's kind of untapped because we know he could do rushing wise, but he could have big throwing seasons if AJ's on the other end or on the outside there for him. So I do agree with you. Like I would definitely take him over Caleb. Hurts, I would go back and forth on, but I would probably lead towards Drake May there. But yeah, I do agree with you. It feels low at 7 right now.
Yeah, I mean AJ Brown, Romeo Dobbs, and then there's still a chance they bring in Diggs again too. I mean,
Really?
if
Okay.
that's your trio, it's like at this point, I really don't think Diggs will end up back in New England. But if he does, I mean, we're talking about quite the trio there. Honestly, like that would be a really good trio, and then it's hard to really knock him down lower than guys who don't have that same situation.
Mhm.
So. Yeah, I think we're in the same boat there. This really feels like a value at RB7 right now for
Yeah.
Drake May.
I'm curious how long he stays there. I think it's only a matter of
Yeah.
time. Once that AJ Brown trade kicks in, he's going to rise up above those guys because that's a
Yes.
guy. That's a wide receiver one, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Um, okay, for the running back position, this is another interesting one. I thought this would be a very fun conversation. So the running back 12, 13, and 14 here, again, back to back to back. We have Derrick Henry, Jeremiah Love, and Josh Jacobs. It's a tough one once again, it's like what do you do here? We kind of know what we have, and two of these guys, one's a rookie with a lot of upside, and you had the hot take last week with Jeremiah Love finishing outside the top 12, and he's getting drafted there, but is that fine? Like, do you want to take him over these guys? So it's an
Yeah.
interesting conversation. You good to go with your start bench cut, or you need a sec?
I think so. I think I'm good to go. And I'm
Yeah,
trying not
go
to
for
let
it.
my hot take affect my rankings, but I think it'll work out well. I think I'm just going to go in that order. I feel like we continuously disrespect Derrick Henry, where every year it's like, and rightfully so, the guy's in his 30s rushing for 2,000 yards. So,
Mhm.
but he's in his 30s. Of course, we're going to assume like when the wheels are going to fall off, but they never do. And the Ravens never make a move to bring in any more help at the running back position. They just roll out him and Lamar. That's what they've done the past couple of years. So I don't see that changing. And I at RB12, he again feels like a steal where you could get him and a higher tier RB1 in the first round. You could get Derrick Henry in the second. So um, I like Derrick Henry at one as my start. My bench is going to be Jeremiah Love. I don't think Jeremiah Love's a bad talent by any means. I think he's a stud. I just think the situation is what scares me,
Mhm.
and I still think he'll be able to come close to this RB1 number, but I think he'll maybe be in the 15 range, which is why this ranking feels good. Um, Jeremiah Love's a stud. I just wonder how long it's going to take them to figure that out because they have three other running backs that they're paying money on the team right now in Algier, James Conner, and Trey Benson. I don't think that we'll have to see how that plays out. This is an early hot take. If a couple of those guys get cut, I'm going to look stupid. But
Yeah.
right now, they're currently on the roster. So I still like Jeremiah Love. That feels good as the bench. And then the cut, unfortunately, another good group of guys, but it's going to have to be my guy from the Packers, Josh Jacobs. He's just pretty consistent player, but his bad games are bad. And when they are up in games, they kind of spread the ball around. They bring in other backs. We did lose Emmanuel Wilson, so maybe not as much competition for Jacobs. But out of this group, he's just going to have to be the cut for me.
Yeah, I think you make all valid points. I think for me, Josh Jacobs is going to be my start. Then I'm gonna sit Derrick Henry, cut Love. Similar reasoning. I think it's just I view it slightly differently. So with Jacobs, I'll explain why I want to start him here. Is he feels disrespected at this point? I think the offense, you just alluded to it. Emmanuel Wilson's gone. Marshawn Lloyd is the backup, and he's never healthy. So it feels like it's entirely his backfield, like entirely. And I think they're going to run the offense entirely through him. They didn't bring in a wide receiver in free agency, they didn't bring in a wide receiver in the draft. They're rolling out Christian Watson and Matthew Golden, who Matthew Golden just wasn't good. And then
Yep.
you have Tucker Kraft coming off an ACL injury, and I don't know who their third guy is. Romeo Dobbs leaves in free agency. Dontavian Wicks, they trade away. So I couldn't even tell you who their third receiver is. I think they want to run the offense through Jacobs. I think there will be plenty of touchdowns for him, which is why he'll have a lot of value. So I'm going to start Jacobs. I think I'm going to sit Derrick Henry. I think the age is getting there, but like you said, the offense runs through him, and he just feels it at some point it is going to end. But I say it every year. I'm like, man, I don't want to take him this year, and I haven't. Like I literally just haven't every year, and then he's good every year. So it's like that's a tough one to pass up on, truthfully, because the offense will run through him as well. But they did draft two rookie wide receivers in the day two, so maybe they're trying to pass a little more. I don't know, but it's still Derrick Henry. He's an anomaly. And then Jeremiah Love, the only reason I'm cutting him, because I think he might be the most talented of these three, which is crazy to say. He's just that good. He's got the receiving pedigree over these two other guys. But like you said, there's other guys in the backfield. And this is going to sound crazy, but I'm worried if Jacoby Brissett holds out or does not start for them. I think that's a brutal blow to the offense as a whole. Like I want Jacoby Brissett to be the starting quarterback for the Cardinals because he'll air it out. He'll throw those targets, those checkdowns to Jeremiah Love. If
Yep.
not, like it could be a really rough offense and a rough year for Jeremiah Love. I think also you got to consider, as you said, there's other guys on the roster right now. They'll use Connor. They'll use Algier. Benson, maybe. I don't know. Somebody should end up getting cut, at least one, but at the same time, right now there's four guys, and they're not going to go away from using them, even if Love is the number one.
Yep. Yeah,
So
no, completely agree.
yeah, I mean that's a fun one. I mean already you can kind of tell we're gonna have some fun talks when we do our rankings. That'll be
Yeah.
a lot of fun because we're already differing in opinions in certain situations here. But
I don't know if it's just it's just so early, but the draft just seems deep this year. Like the names that we're
mm,
seeing at each position. Like I feel like last year Genti was inside the top 10 easy in a redraft
yeah.
form. And so for running back. But so it just seems deep this year and a lot of good names.
Yeah, I think last year, like running backs, it was like 1 through 12 felt really good. Then
Hmm.
you get outside, okay, there's a drop off. But I felt like that drop off lasted until about like RB 36. Like you could have taken some RB2s, couple of them, and you'd feel good. This year though, I think it does feel deeper, as you said, at the top half. But once you hit like RB 24, it drops off so badly that it's like guys you don't even want. So I think it's just a different drop off this year. So I think it's deeper in terms of being top heavy, but I think the drop off is steeper. So, make sure you get some of these guys, and some will be values like Jacobs, Henry, and Jeremiah Love, but
Yep.
make sure you get some of these guys for sure. The guy we're going to do a check on is Saquon Barkley, currently going at RB8. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it just feels. Can you give me some of the names right before it? It just
Yeah,
feels
yeah, yeah. I
it
got you.
feels low, but I just want to put into perspective who else is around with him. It does kind of feel like a value just because we know what he's capable of when given like with that season for Philly 2 years ago.
Hmm.
I think we could all kind of have predicted some sort of a regression, but with AJ Brown leaving, Makai Lemon did replace him, but he's not AJ Brown, so I think they're going to continue to rely on the run. Um, it feels like a good spot for him though. It feels like RB8, you're still not getting burned if he puts together a top five running back season. It's still a value, but you're still not getting burned at the RB8. And then if he's a dud, if he finishes at like the top 15, you're not getting burned there. So it feels okay, but I don't know. What are some of those other names around him?
Yeah, so the top guys, you got Gibbs, Bijan, McCaffrey, JT, James Cook. Six is Ashton Genty. Seven, you got Devon Achan, then Barkley. Right behind him, you have Marion Hampton, Chase Brown, Ken Walker, then the three guys we just listed there. Personally, I think Saquon kind of fits with those other three guys that we just
Yeah.
did a check on. So
Mm,
I almost feel like RB8 feels a little high. And,
really?
it
Yeah.
doesn't feel weird just for the name, but I saw some stats that I forget exactly what stats it was, but he was just not efficient last year. And then there's the question of is he getting towards the end? Like
Yeah.
he's at the age cliff for running backs. So I think there's a concern in the back of my mind. I think RB8 feels a little rich, but at the same time, like definitely still want him though if he's gonna drop off like too much. You know what I mean? Like if he's at RB12, that feels like a steal. I think he could go right in that 10 to 12 range, maybe right above Derrick Henry type situation. That would feel pretty good to me.
Yeah, yeah. No, now that you say it, I do feel like even but that the group even before the three that we just talked about are so good as well. Like
Yeah,
Chase Brown,
yeah.
um, forget the other name that
Hampton.
Achan, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
Hampton was in there. Like, yeah, if they again the running back position feels deep 1 through 15, but
yeah.
yeah, Saquon is just like kind of like a little bit like McCaffrey last year, where you're taking a chance on him. Is he going to have a bounce back year? He burned a lot of people,
Mhm.
or are you going to get burned again? So yeah, kind of preference, I guess, for Saquon.
Yeah, yeah. I think Lane Johnson, that injury definitely did something for him too. That hurt him a lot. So we'll see. Maybe he comes back and it ends up being all right. But yeah, definitely an interesting name. We'll keep an eye on that as the offseason rolls on. This will be a fun one. The wide receivers here. We're just going one, two, and three. Jamar Chase, Puka Nakua, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I have my order, but I know people have had different orders like crazy. So, you got it, or you want a sec?
Yeah, I got it, I think.
Yeah,
So
go for it.
one is pretty easy for me. I don't know about you. I'm gonna it's Jamar. I feel like he's just done it year in and year out.
Yep.
He wasn't even healthy with Joe Burrow last year for the or Joe Burrow wasn't healthy with him for most of the year.
Mhm.
But we've seen what these two together can do, and they're gonna be healthy to start this year together. So Jamar was a beast without him, or he had some off weeks, but he was still very good, and we know what he can do with him, obviously. So Jamar's my one, and that's pretty easy out of this group, honestly. He feels like a one in his own tier.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna put JSN too. I really like Puka, and but I just like this off the field stuff with Puka. It just feels like at some point it's going to become a problem. And if it's not already, not that like, and that can have an effect on field play, but he also has some injury concerns at times where he leaves games a lot. He's still a top five receiver, no doubt, when he's on the field, but just out of this group right here, I'm going to have Puka be the cut and JSN be the sit. JSN had a monster year. It was his true breakout year where he was in this top three territory, and he deserves it. I mean, he did it all the way up until the Super Bowl in a loss, too. He put up a monster game. So, I mean, yeah, JSN can look in. I do see some sort of regression from him, but I still see him inside this top five easy, and he'll be my bench here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on Jamar. I think he's my one, so I'll just second that. Burrow, elite offense. You just love it. He is that guy. I think I'm gonna flip though. I'm gonna sit Puka and I'm gonna bench or cut JSN.
Yep.
So I'm just flipping two and three with you. I think Puka. It's just the offense, right? The offense they sling it, and it's a high powered offense, right? The Seahawks were efficient. They were good, but they lose Kubiak. So that's a bit of a concern to me. There's definitely the off-field concerns for me too, with Puka. But I think Puka is just in a more stable environment, in a gunslinging environment where I think he's an exciting player. I mean, they were even looking to potentially trade Devontae Adams, so I think Puka's their guy. So Puka's my bench, and then I'll cut JSN. But JSN, don't get me wrong, he's a stud, dude. There's just more concerns for me over these other two guys.
You know what I just realized? I got to flex really quick. I have all three of these guys on the same dynasty team in one league.
All three?
Yes.
Yeah.
I traded Malik Neighbors in a 2027 first for Jamar. I traded a huge package for JSN. And
Sheesh.
then Puka, I traded a huge package for too. So I have all three of these guys.
Dude, that's the most elite wide receiver combo ever.
Yeah. So I
That's
just had to
insane.
throw that out there that I was ranking these guys, but I don't have to. I have them all on my team and I
Yeah,
start them all.
dude, that's crazy. Well, we'll see what you do in our keeper league. That'll be a
Yeah,
good one.
yeah, that's true. I have some decisions to make.
Yeah, for the ADP check here, that was a lot quicker than I thought there. But the ADP check, we're gonna do Malik Neighbors. Speaking of, as you said, you traded him away. He's sitting at wide receiver 10 right now. I know a lot of people are starting to fall off of him just because of the injury, the news that he had to get like another procedure done, clean some stuff up, and people are like, oh, well, the second is too high. I feel like this is an okay spot, honestly. If let's look at some of the other names around him. But to me, it feels like at some point he's going to be on the field and he's going to be insane, right? So it's like when you're taking him, he's going behind Rashi Rice, behind Drake London, behind Nico Collins, right ahead of George Pickens, AJ Brown, Chris Olave. Like to me, there's just too many guys below him that I don't really know how I feel about them. Neighbors is a stud. He may miss 4 weeks being on the pup, and then you have to drop him down in your rankings because he's missing 4 weeks. But if he is there for week two, week three, and he misses only 1 to 2 weeks, I mean, I would take him over these other guys. Like, I think I would take him over Nico. So although it may be tough to do, like Nico or Malik Neighbors just based on talent alone, I'm going Neighbors all day. So it feels a little low, but definitely important to keep an eye on if he's hitting the pup. Well, okay, this might even be too high.
Yeah, no, where it stands now, and if he was a full go on week one, this feels like a value for
Oh yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
I know that Neighbors was a guy that last year we were both projecting massive season before the injury. And I think a lot of people forget he hasn't had a chance to play with Dart yet. They haven't
hmm
played together.
hmm
So that the quarterback situation before was Russell Wilson, and it was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And now he gets their franchise guy, all things that pointing towards of Dart, and we haven't seen them play together. So I think that's the most exciting piece about it is that we already like this guy with Russell Wilson, and now you give him Dart, and then he's at a value wide receiver 10. It is important to recognize, like you did, that he's coming off the injury, which is important. He tore his ACL, so
Mhm.
that's not nothing for sure. But just what the talent he is, what he's already shown he could do in the NFL, I would definitely be comfortable taking him in the middle of the second or wherever that ADP kind of works out to.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be even more comfortable if I went wide receiver early. Imagine like Justin Jefferson, and then you stack him up with
Yeah,
Neighbors or
seriously,
Amon Ra. You might be able to get, or maybe even one of these top three guys we just listed, and you double them up with
that's
Neighbors.
scary.
Like,
That's scary.
because it sounds like in most drafts it's going Gibbs and Bijan or vice versa, and then these three receivers. So if you get Jamar at the 103 and then Neighbors at like the 210, like that's possible, and that's disgusting. So, just something to consider.
Yep.
Let's do the tight ends here. I went with the rookies from last year. So we had tight end three, Colston Loveland, tight end four, Tyler Warren, and tight end six, Harold Fannin Jr. I kept him in there. Tucker Kraft is above him right now, which to me is a little interesting, coming off the ACL injury, but, I got to put it in appropriately how it's listed here. Um, Yeah, I think this one's a tough one, right? I know a lot of people are in on Loveland, but this is a tough one because these other two guys were studs as well. So I don't know. Do you have your situation yet?
I do, and I feel like we might disagree here a little
All
bit.
right.
So this might be a good one. Um, I don't know if this is consensus. I mean, I guess they're only one spot apart, but I'm gonna go with my start being Tyler Warren. I feel like a lot of people like knew about what he was doing with Daniel Jones early on the season before Jones got hurt, but I
Hmm.
don't know if it got recognized enough for like what the quarterback situation turned into after Jones left. It was pretty brutal for anyone to do something not named Jonathan Taylor. So Warren's going to be my start because with Jones, he was elite. Like he was looking at one of those Laporta seasons, the Brock Bowers, maybe not Bowers, but just like a really good tight end, rookie tight end finish in the top five for sure. So he's going to be my start. And then my bench is going to be Loveland. I feel like he's, got a lot of hype, which is deserved because of his playoff performance and the end of the year. He turned into one of Caleb's favorite targets. DJ Moore leaves. Like spots are opening up. There's still Burden and Odunze there, but Loveland's just a freak. Like I had to watch him catch like 13 passes in the playoff game against the Packers. He's just all over the field. So he's a monster. He could easily finish above Tyler Warren, but he's going to be my bench. And then my cut's going to be Fannin. Um, I do think like he is maybe sort of a value, depending on I don't know where he's going to go in terms of ADP, but out of this group, the quarterback situation scares me the most there. And like you just don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Deshaun Watson, Shadur? Who is it going to be? And if it's either of those guys, I'm really still not confident in it. So Fannin was a stud. He was kind of one of the bright spots in the Browns offense. But for me, out of this group, he's going to be a sit. I mean, a cut. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think I was gonna go? Because you said we might disagree here.
I thought you were going to go Loveland one, and then maybe mix Warren and Fannin, like sit
Yeah.
Fannin.
Yeah, no, I'm going the same as you. I'm starting Warren, I'm sitting
Okay.
Loveland, and I'm cutting Fannin. Similar reasons. Warren, I do worry if Daniel Jones isn't back week one a little bit, but Pittman's gone. Like this guy, to me, has a clear spot to be the number one guy in this offense, lead the team in targets, receptions, maybe even touchdowns. Like I think this is Warren's offense to run in the passing game. And I pray Daniel Jones is back week one. If not, I don't even know if Anthony Richardson's going to be the next guy up there because he might still get traded. But it's a little concern, but the tight end's always a safety net, so you don't have to worry as much about QB situations with tight ends. But like you said, with Daniel Jones, he was so good. So Warren's my start with you. Loveland, he's a beast. Great offense. And yeah, I'll go with that. It's a little more crowded. That's the only concern. But I'm starting to hear more and more. It sounds like Loveland is going to be the engine of this offense and probably the leader. So it's like, all right, well, got to be in on Loveland. And then Fannin's the sit, simply because it's the Browns. Shador was great for him. He was getting like 14 targets in some games with Shador as a QB.
That's
So
true.
I hope it's Shador over Watson, but it's more so that it's the Browns. It's the worst offense of the three here, and there's also now Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. So it's not like it's just
True.
wide open. It is the tight end spot wide open for him, absolutely. But Njoku leaving only does so much when you draft two wide receivers in the first like 35 picks. So I think we're kind of in the same boat here, but all three should be studs this year. Let's not forget that part.
Yeah, honestly, talking about it made me excited about Tyler Warren, like seeing where I could get him in drafts because he just feels like that pick where we got a glimpse of the breakout, and then this is the year where he puts it together.
You can get Warren late.
Yeah,
Warren at pick 66 is like I think what's that?
fifth,
Sixth round,
yeah,
middle
fifth, sixth
sixth.
round.
Loveland is going in the fourth, and then you
Yeah,
have Fannin though going in like the eighth. So
okay.
there's some situations here where it's like there's a little you can see there's a value, there's a drop off, even though these three guys are close in rankings. There's a drop off, so something
Yeah,
something to
that's
think
that's
about.
good to hear because in all those Kelsey years, Andrews was you had to pay up a second or third round pick for him. And
Hmm.
this year that's McBride, but I'm way more comfortable with McBride. So I'm liking that the idea of taking a shot at one of these tight ends here in like the middle of the fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever it is, and then waiting on quarterback. That feels good right now, like a good plan.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of agree. And then our ADP check, we're checking on Kyle Pitts, tight end 7, but he's going quite late, like pick 98 overall, which I think that's like probably round 9, maybe even round 10. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, tight end 7. He made his way up there after a tight end 2 finish last year. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it feels like the ADP for or the ranking for him right now is based off of like people I'm not falling for this shit again. Like he had his 1,000 yard rookie season, he was a monster, untouchable in dynasty. Then we saw what's transpired the past 3 years. But he had a good year last year. He really showed up for fantasy playoffs. He had that one monster 40-point week or 50, whatever it was in week one of the fantasy playoffs. And I do think that inflates his numbers overall. Like, I think he finished as the tight end 3 overall or the tight end 2, maybe.
Tight end 2.
And a lot of it probably had to do with that game right there. But still, I think it showed that he can be involved in the offense. It is Drake London there. Mooney leaves, but I like Kyle Pitts. Like it feels like another good dart throw. Like I'm fine with taking Kyle Pitts and then taking a further dart throw down the line. And then if neither of those work out, I'll go to the waiver wire. But it feels like a good spot for Pitts to kind of like return on some value if he puts up another big year.
Yeah, I mean, that was the best fantasy tight end game of all time.
Yeah.
So, there's that. I think that does inflate his numbers. This to me feels too high, right? Tight end 7 feels a little too high for me. I would take a dart throw, but not when, in the ninth, 10th, you're probably getting some other guys who are probably, I'd feel better about shooting on if I don't get one of the top tight ends. So that's something to think about. Laporta's going right behind him right now too, where I'd probably prefer Laporta. You got Kittle. Well, we'll see what the injury is like. I imagine Kittle, if he's fully healthy, will shoot up the board like above both of these guys, and he'll be above Pitts. But you got Kittle behind him. You got aging Kelsey. You got Jake Ferguson, Gadsden. Well, now Njoku's there. But you look down the board, there's some really bad options. So it's either you're taking a dart throw at somebody late, like none of these like 10 to 12 kind of guys, or like you're going hopefully early. Kyle Pitts just feels like the dead zone tight end for me this year, where it's like middle round and it just feels too high for what it could end up being. So that's just how I feel about it. But honestly, when you look at the names behind him in terms of rankings alone, doesn't feel too bad.
Yeah, no, I do want to see Pitt succeed. Like I think he was
Yeah.
such a hyped up prospect that it's good to see him have big games, and I do have him in a dynasty league. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, here, I'll list some names off like around where Pitts is going, like right behind him. There's just more upside I'm shooting on here, like Quentin
Yeah,
Johnston, Jordan Addison, Bo Nix, Michael Pittman, Jared Goff, Blake Corum, J.K. Dobbins, Kenny Gainwell. You got Josh Downs, Tyler Shuck. I mean, I could keep listing guys as like upside guys. Romeo Dobbs. So there's too many names there that I'm like, whoop, I want the shot on him. I want the shot on him. So I probably won't have any shares of Kyle Pitts this year, honestly. But tight end seven, not a bad ranking in terms
Yeah.
of where he's actually going in the draft. Feels very early.
Yeah, it feels like the community is pretty in line of where we're at on everyone. Like people are
Yeah.
baking in some regressions already, not falling for hype that's been there before with Pitts. I don't know. It feels like there's no like true standouts right now in rankings,
Yep.
if that makes sense.
Yep. I kind of agree with you. But yeah, let's wrap it up there. We kind
Yeah,
of kept it short and sweet. About 40 minutes, so not too bad.
there we
But
go.
yeah, we I think we're gonna add a bonus dynasty episode. So maybe that'll come out next week. Maybe it'll be, who knows? We got to figure out what our schedule is gonna look like for the summer of, what day we're gonna start uploading. But we're gonna get a dynasty episode soon. And then come June, that's when we started doing the values. And then we did the values, we did the busts, we did what else did we do here? The sleepers. So we'll do those three once we hit June. That'll probably be like a weekly kind of thing. We got to figure out, exactly what we're gonna do for the summer because I know we doubled up some weeks. So we definitely want to make sure we're not missing episodes coming up to drafts. So
Yeah.
we'll figure out a whole schedule and stuff like that. But yeah, with that said, we'll do Dynasty next week for you guys, and then yeah, we'll get into some fun stuff this week.
And for the guy that keeps commenting on the videos,
Yeah,
you still have the open invite to come on the show and we'll hash out some takes.
yeah. Just
Um,
leave a comment if you want to hop on.
Maybe let's lessen the length a little bit. It's some
Yeah,
long reads, but we appreciate the interaction nonetheless. But
yeah,
open invite, come on the show and we'll
yeah,
talk
yeah.
takes.
For sure, for sure. With that, hey, make sure to comment if you got some takes, disagree with any of our takes, agree with them.
Yep.
We're always open to talking balls. So, leave some comments, leave likes, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.
Peace.